everyone. Welcome back to our hybrid session of Coffee and Conversation. It's me again, Craig, and it's glad to be here. It's a beautiful day outside. I hope that's how you're feeling inside. So always look within so that you'll have a bright, sunny day.
Okay, so he gonna come out with quotes and that. You know what? Let me step my game up. Hey man, my name is Mike. Welcome to Coffee and Conversation, and pray that it'll be a blessed day today for you as well. All right, let's get into our lesson for the day. So we're gonna dive deep into some good stuff here. We make sure we got everything on the screen. I tagged everybody. Share this video, please. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. What we doing today, buddy?
All right, so today we're going to be talking about some coping skills, mechanism. As always, we like to always fill your week, your day with some coping skills. And this article is talking about what's the difference between being recovered, being in recovery, and recovering.
So you think these are good words, there? These are some good stuff.
Those are the three phases.
Let me put it on the screen for y'all. What's the difference between being recovered, being in recovery, and recovering? This is a good topic. I'm glad I came up with this.
Me too.
So let's see what we got here.
We gotta give a shout out to the good people who
provided it. Yeah. So this came from the website rightpathaddictioncenters.com. You can go on there. I'll put the link in the comment section so you'll be able to get this particular lesson from them. They got a lot of great content on there. I'll put the link in the description in the comment section so you'll be able to go to their website and see where we got it from and share it with everybody else. It's good information on there. All right. So we're gonna go into. Let me read the synopsis here.
Oh, synopsis.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. It says more than 21 million Americans suffer from at least one addiction, which numerous people tend to abuse multiple addictive substances. Of this staggering number, only 10% get help to achieve full control of the addiction without future relapse. And nearly 85% of the people in recovery, the process of becoming and staying sober, relapse within the first year. So we're gonna dive into some real good stuff here. Excuse me. The road from addiction to being recovered is a long, challenging process. That's a good word for us right there. Long, challenging process. Don't ever underestimate the process. I talk a lot. I talk to a lot of individuals who suffer relapse or go back, whatever you want to call it. And I tell them, I think sometimes we underestimate the process. They think it's just going to be a cakewalk when, in all honesty, it's not just something you're just going to breeze over, no matter what your spiritual foundation is, no matter how thorough you are, no matter if you're a TC monster, right? No matter if you got all that going on for you, the process is always going to be difficult. You know what I mean? So you got to understand that, all right? So let's look here. The road from addiction to becoming recovery is a long, challenging process. Just as there are many reasons for becoming an addict, there are many methods for treating the issue. Unfortunately, not every person responds to the same treatment plan. Right? Yeah, so I might have a plan laid out for one of my participants, clients, or recoveries, whatever terminology you use at your agency, right? But that particular treatment plan can't be what my supervisor called cookie cutter. And when she says, don't make it so cookie cutter, she's meant you have to make your treatment plan so that they are tailor-made for each individual. And when you do the treatment plan that's tailor-made for each individual, those things will be different. They won't be the same for every individual. I mean, you might have the same some type of goal as far as connecting to a different resource like that. You might have similarities there, but overall, each individual is different. Understanding the reason behind the addiction is the first step from being in recovery to being recovered. Once you know the triggers that influence sobriety, you're more equipped to handle the pressures without turning to your vices. Man,
very important. Triggers.
once you know the triggers, right? You know them. Now, this right here, this situation triggers me to want to do whatever I used to like to do. Now you have to, that's one level. The next level is to find some positive coping skills instead of, because if you might not know this, when we dealing with stuff and we get triggered, our answer is using. Our answer is resorting back to what we used to do.
Old behavior.
Old behavior. Once you know your triggers that influence sobriety, you're more equipped to handle the pressures without turning to your vices. That's saying that once you know your triggers and you develop some coping skills, you won't go back to the things that actually caused you to be in that situation initially. Using multiple compassionate approaches to help people go from addiction to full recovery and a sober future. All right, let's see. What's the next? You want that?
Recovery. What's the process? All right, we're talking about recovery. What is the process? The article says addiction is an evolving disease that affects every aspect of your life and the people in it. They say every aspect of your life, not just you picking up and using, but relationships, how you handle situations, your mental emotions, psyche, all that stuff plays a big part in your process. Quite frequently, addiction goes hand in hand with underlying conditions like untreated mental disorders, such as PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder, which is known as GAD, or social anxiety disorder. All right. Before you can enjoy a life of sobriety without the temptation or fear of relapse, you have to come to terms with the issues or causes of your addiction. All right. And so it says, on the road to becoming sober, you'll go through 3 steps of recovery. First step is being in recovery. The second one is recovering. And the third one is being recovered. So there's a 3-step process that one must go through.
Nice. So let's go to the first one, being in recovery. All right? Let's check this out. What's this say? Being in recovery is the first stage for anyone battling an addiction. In this beginning step, you still struggle with the cycle of addiction and may be still using, lapsing, or recently stopped. The hardest part of starting on the path to addiction recovery is withdrawal symptoms. These physical and psychological symptoms occur as your body struggles to eliminate the harmful substance from your body and detoxify. These are the 3 stages: early, acute, and post-acute. These are the 3 stages right here. For many people, depending on an addiction, the withdrawal phase, which can last for a few days to multiple months, can be so severe that they abandon the idea of getting clean. That's true. I call that the window of opportunity. They abandon the idea of getting clean. For this reason, most relapses happen within the first 90 days of sobriety. That's why when you see somebody come home and if they're not changing person, people, places, and things, 90 days, they suck right back in because they came right back to the same environment, same thing. They probably started the process of change, but remember we started out when I said it's a process. The Simeo Institute defines these extreme reactions as post-acute withdrawal symptoms. They can present multiple symptoms, which can resemble medical issues like anxiety or mood disorder. They said they should be like, man, I'm dealing with some anxiety or mood disorder because that's how powerful it is. Patients withdrawn for opiates, alcohol, benzos had the highest probability of unfavorable symptoms during the acute phase. You heard that? Opiate, alcohol, benzos. That's very high. These can include agitation, anxiety, insomnia, loss of appetite, mood swings, nausea, vomiting, shake, tremors, and body aches. Good God Almighty, man, I don't miss none of them.
That's the first stage.
That's the first
Wow. So when a person going through
detox. You're experiencing all those, or may experience some,
all
or some of them.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was detoxing, I had lost appetite, shakes, body aches. Yeah.
Tremors.
Yeah. Finding the right combination of treatment increases the chances of successful kicking your addiction and making it through the post-withdrawal symptom without relapsing. All right. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. We just talked about. We talking about what's the difference between being recovered, being in recovery, and recovering.
Yeah.
So right now we just went over being in recovery. Now let's look at recovery.
Recovery. Let's talk about it.
Talk about it.
Once you pass through the 3 stages of the withdrawal phase and embrace sobriety, you're on the path of recovery. Let's go rehearse, or let's go back to what is the first 3 stages. It says early, acute, and post-acute.
Yeah.
Known as pause. Pause. All right. While you're in this stage of getting over an addiction, your recovery is a balancing act. You're living a sober lifestyle, but the craving is still there. Specific triggers can disrupt your recovery and cause you to start using again. Understanding your triggers, what issues cause you to think about, crave, or use your preferred substance is crucial for recovery. It can be external factors such as interpersonal conflict, places, and activities, or they can be internal, including negative emotions, thought patterns, and feelings. So this article says there can be external factors and also there can be internal factors. So you have to be mindful of these triggers because they can bring on a lot of cravings.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the coping skills, 9/10 of the time
You go back to the
old behaviors.
Yeah.
During this time, it's crucial to have healthy outlets to keep you focused and determined to stay clean. If your addiction revolves around managing stress or for an escape, you must find a way to manage your emotions to keep you from returning to your habit. So remember earlier we talked about it is a all phase, the disease of addiction is an all phase from many aspects.
Yeah.
Not only just the substance, but if you, like the article says here, if you're dealing with stress, you need to find how to manage those stress, because if not, you might get tripped up. Having a support system, such as a program sponsor, a therapist, or an addiction hotline is a fantastic tool to help your recovery. However, to successfully beat your addiction, you'll have to start a new life and may need to abandon old friends, places, and activities you associate with your vice.
However, successful beating it, you'll have to start a new life. Got to be a whole new strategy.
People, placing things.
If you started on the path for your recovery process and you relapse, right? You more than likely had a plan in mind before you relapse. Yeah, throw that plan away. Got to change something. Something got to change because it didn't work. How I know it didn't work? You relapsed, so something, whatever you planned, it didn't work. So you got to actually add. You don't have to throw it all away, but you definitely have to change something about it because it didn't work.
So if you are in need of information support, you can contact Capital Recovery Center.
Right, man. We're going to give you a contact right there.
Put on the screen.
Contact us. Number right there. How can we help?
Right. So it says getting into a structured routine is another valuable tip for recovery. Living a healthier life, emotional and physically, can inspire you to stay sober. Exercise, meditation, and yoga are excellent outlets during recovery. These activities release endorphins, which make you feel good, and lower stress hormones like cortisol, helping your body self-regulate. The goal of going through recovery is to get and stay sober. Being recovered can mean various things to different people. For some people, having recovered means no longer experience the urge to give in to their addiction. Remember, we talked about triggers, we talked about cravings, now we're talking about urges.
Nice.
So those three things are very vital to remember when you're dealing with coping skills. All right. And so instead, Bill gotten clean and now believes sobriety means never using the substance again or relapsing.
Nice.
But for others, being recovered means having control over their addiction. They learn to moderate consumption so they can partake, such as an alcoholic becoming a social drinker. All right. So being recovered means that the addiction is no longer in control. You can live a normal, fully functional life without relapsing.
Ooh, normal life. It said keep. This is good. This is good. Being recovery means that the addiction is no longer in control. I always say, once you take control at this stage in my life, I have absolutely no desire to do drugs or drink, right? That means it has absolutely no control over my life at this point. But when you get to that point, that's something that, remember, we started out and I told you about process. A lot of times we have to understand that we have to go through, everybody has a process that they have to go through. And when we're going through these particular processes, the ultimate goal is to take back the control that the thing had over us. Before, the drug had the control over me. Now I control anything I do, anything I put in my body, anything that all that, I control it, all right? So let's look at what we got next. All right, being recovered.
The last one is recovery. Knows right path, knows recovery.
All right, recovery.
Okay.
Getting through the stages of recovery when trying to overcome an addiction is a long road that requires dedication, self-control, and patience. Good words here. Dedication, self-control, and patience. Unfortunately, many people experience one or more relapses before achieving full recovery. The best success is when you use a customized treatment plan that incorporates multiple aspects. Using multiple facets approaches, using medication-assisted therapy, and extensive support networks to help users through being in recovery, and being recovered. This is good stuff here, man. Let's take it from the top. We'll take it from the top. Remember what we was talking about here. I want you to understand what was the topic, the subject matter. Here's our subject matter on the screen. What's the difference between being recovered, being in recovery, and recovering? So we walk through the recovery. What's the process? And we stuck the point of always remember that it's a process. When you start at initial stage, you're going to go through this stage, this stage, this stage, this stage. A lot of times, somewhere during those stages, people get discouraged. But if they automatically function in their brain, this is the process. It's just like gaining weight. We think it's hard to get weight off, but when we gain weight, we went through a process of either sitting there just eating, not working out, not doing whatever, right? It ain't just happened over one day. It was a process that we took. It's the same way with addiction. Recovery is the process.
And we talked about pause. Remember, early, acute, and post-acute. And so the early stage was this detox stage. Then when you go to the acute, then you learn about how to manage and identify your triggers and the cravings that one goes through. And so once you tackle that, then you know the urges, you can better manage your urges when you begin to deal with external factors and internal factors.
Good.
And so be mindful. So you can eat healthy, you can exercise, you can take stress management classes. There's a host of coping mechanisms that you can tune into. And you can also call us here at Capital Recovery Center, and we can link you, and you can be a part of what we're doing here as far as Paul's process.
And in recovery, we also mentioned understanding your triggers.
Very good.
Understanding your triggers. What issues causes you to think about cravings or use? Understanding your triggers. We dove into that. That's a good point right there. We want you to understand your triggers, okay? And then being recovered. Being recovered, we went into being recovered. Being recovered means that the addiction is no longer in control. It's no longer in control. When you're in recovery, when you're being recovered, no longer has dominion over you. It no longer controls you. It no longer have you in its grip. You now run your own life. And it says being recovered means that the addiction is no longer in control. You can live a normal, fully functioning life without relapse. I like that. It says without relapse. You mean to tell me you ain't gonna go back? I can guarantee you I ain't going back. Anyway, but back.
Take that tapes out, Mom.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. So with this, well, we want to share this video, comment. If you got any more things dealing with that topic, please share it with us. Remember, we're talking about what's the difference between being recovered, being in recovery, and recovering. If you got some views and some points and some opinions, drop it in the comment section and we'll get back with you. All right? Good stuff.
That's it for now.